Hey there, my name is Anthony Romano, and in this video I'm going to tell you how to hack your metabolic rate regardless of what diet you're on. And basically this is going to be something that will benefit your fat loss goals overall regardless of what diet you like doing, but in general it's just going to give you a good idea of how to manipulate your metabolic rate and why you shouldn't just think that nutrition makes up the whole picture of fat loss, because it does. But there are some factors that can influence how much of a hold it has over your results. So this video is going to be mostly for people involved in fitness and fat loss. And it's kind of an advanced technique. So if you don't know the basics of calories and carbs and all these other mechanisms that are broad, then you might not really get where I'm going. But, pick up the pace, do a couple Google searches if you need to catch up. So, metabolic rate. This is how fast your metabolism is moving. And your metabolism, people will say, is the thing that drives fat loss, right? Oh, when I was young, I had a fast metabolism. Now I have a fat metabolism, things like that, right? That's the conception a lot of us look at metabolism with. And even though I'm not getting into precise, ingredients of the metabolism, I'm speaking in generalities here about concepts, you can verify these things with various searches. But here's the thing. When we're talking about on a practical level, what's going to influence fat loss results, people often think it is the calories in, calories out, okay? But your metabolic rate is more important. And if you want to hack your metabolic rate, you have to do more activity. So that means it's not just about calories in, calories out, okay? The calorie expenditure is a good tool to gauge where you want to be per day. But if you have somebody who is working out 4 times a week and you have somebody who isn't working out at all, and they eat the same amount of calories per day, the person who's working out is going to lose more despite eating more food, right? If they burned off an extra few hundred calories per day, they're going to be losing more weight despite the fact that they get to the same net point each day, okay? So, person 1, let's say their day looks like this. They eat 3,000 calories and they burn off 1,000, they go down to 2,000. And then you get somebody who's just eating 2,000 calories. These two people, okay? They're twins even. Let's say they have the identical genes, okay? These two people, the 3,000 minus 1,000 of activity person and the 2,000 person, right? Even though there are other factors that I believe will enhance fat loss like ketogenic dieting, intermittent fasting, prolonged fasting, when we're talking about the calorie expenditure, in order for you to understand the concept I'm hitting at here about their metabolic rate, here's the thing. You have to know about the Minnesota starvation experiment, which was basically an experiment performed. It's a famous experiment where there was a study on people who were eating lower and actually severely low calorie intake per day. They weren't fasting completely. They were still eating some food, but very small and scarce amounts of food. And these people had all the symptoms of starvation that you would expect. They felt horrible. They were fantasizing about food. They were losing muscle mass, losing body fat at the same time. They were losing hair. A lot of these other, their hormonal production went down. A lot of other problems that we associate with starvation. And when we're talking about, managing metabolic rate, okay? That person's metabolic rate is going to slow down because their body is saying, okay, we clearly don't have any food here. So let's down-regulate how much fuel we use from the body, because your body's a survival machine. It doesn't want to die, it wants to survive. So it's going to try to be economical with its resources. If you're starving, well, not necessarily starving to the point of 300 calories a day or 400 calories a day, whatever it was, if you are eating in a calorie deficit, even one that's manageable or feels good to you, your body eventually will say, okay, 2,000 calorie person, after a few weeks, despite having, a good amount of fat loss in the beginning, that person's body is going to say, okay, whoa, hold up, slam the brakes. We don't want to run through all of our fuel. But the person who's eating 3,000 calories and then doing 1,000 calorie worth of burn per day, that person, their body is not only getting the calorie burn from 1,000, calories being used, but it's a signal to their body that, oh, we're eating a large amount of food and then burning it off. So that literally is their engine has burnt more fuel that day, right? It's burnt through more fuel despite hitting the same net calorie expenditure. So it's amping up the engine and then still getting that end result to the same calorie expenditure of 2,000 calories. So in general, they're speeding up the engine and then still getting to the same point, which is exactly what you want to do. And the purpose of this video is to open your eyes to the possibility that the more you can include cardio, the more you can include fasted cardio, right? All these other ways of incorporating activity into your fat loss plan is going to heavily benefit you. This is not an exhaustive video. It's meant to introduce you to the idea because calorie expenditure is not the whole picture. And this is something that we know, right? Every day, each of us walks about half of a marathon, right? But if I told you to sprint a half marathon, you would instinctively know that, okay, you'd burn a shitload of calories that way. And it's something we instinctively know, but just don't really talk about or don't even really know to ask about. So as far as hacking your metabolic rate, the key is cardio, and the key is activity in general, right? Burning calories, right? Cardio is just a blanket term I'm using for that. Of course, there are better ways to implement cardio. There's fasted cardio. There is prolonged fasting and then cardio. There are ketogenic diets, which get your body better at burning fat, and then cardio. There are a multitude of ways to incorporate this. You could do sports. You could go a little bit longer at the gym. You could throw on a show on Netflix and then walk incline on a treadmill. Of course, I have my own preferences about specific ways to do this for specific clients and for myself also, and fitting it into certain lifestyles. But the point you have to take away from this video is that calorie expenditure is not the whole picture. What is the whole picture is a combination of these things. These things influence each other. Diet still makes up majority of the picture, but if you ran a half marathon every day, the amount that your diet affects the whole picture would be changed, right? It wouldn't just be 80% diet. And this is also why you have people who are bigger, right? Bodybuilder people who seem like they can cut like crazy, but they have more muscle mass. Their engine is amped up more because it's used to maintaining more mass on the body. And one of the slang terms in the bodybuilding community is that the best way to burn a pound of fat is to add a pound of muscle, because the more that you amp up your engine by adding more mass that it has to get used to maintaining, the more you speed up your metabolic rate and speed up how easy it is to lose fat, because you have an engine which is firing better, and then you can still end up at the same net expenditure. So I think this video hit the mark with exactly what I wanted to deliver to you on this one, which is calories are not the whole picture. That is how you hack your metabolic rate. Thank you for the support. Thank you for putting up with a little hiatus too of videos, because I've been making more exciting projects with Carlos, aka Golden Air Bookworm. And also I'm running my programs in the meanwhile now, so hasn't been as frequent of an upload schedule for me as of late. But thank you again, and for those of you who are worried, videos are still coming, nothing's gonna change. But let me know in the comments and like this video if it delivered some value for you, and subscribe to me right now and send this video to somebody else too if it was a useful video for you. Thank you again, Anthony Romano, peace.